Boy, oh 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 boy. Oh, Charter Daytona, Charter Daytona. I wish I would have been able to actually drive the Charter Daytona that was actually at my dealership, which crazy part was I went to two dealerships and none of their cars actually work for each Charter Daytonas. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I mean, it's funny to me how I see like little posts. Let me show you a little post I saw on the little Charter Daytona forums. I'm like, let me show you right here. I'm like, these dudes is like a trip. Like right here, I'm going like these mothers on the Charter Daytona forums are hilarious. All the haters need to get in one and drive it. The car is pretty sweet. And I'm going like, I mean, I would have loved to got in one. I actually did get in one, but it didn't work. I mean, every single one of them that I've seen so far does not work. And that's not a very good sign that I'm seeing here, because this is getting pretty freaking wild here. I went to one Dodge dealer, and I said this in the video right here. I went to one Dodge dealer. They had two. Neither one of them worked, and neither one of them is on displays. You can actually go look at and see them. Then I went to my other Dodge dealer, and I did all this on a live stream. So people can actually look and see in real time what I'm going through to try and actually see one of these Charter Daytonas. And it's like, no matter what I do, I cannot get to a point where I can actually get in one of these Charter Daytonas to actually drive one. First dealer, neither one of them works. I went to the second dealer. They had 5 in inventory. They had 5 Charter Daytonas. None of the 5 worked. They had 2 Scat Packs and 3 RTs. They had 2 Scat Packs and RT sitting outside beside the dealership. Then they had 2 more in the service department trying to get these software issues fixed. And I'm going like, so that's like 7 cars near me and none of the 7 works. And so, you know, so I'm not saying, it's funny how, you know, some people right here, like on a little Daytona forum, these guys are in their own little echo chamber. Oh man, everybody just haters, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm trying not to hate on the Charter Daytona, because I'm actually trying to actually find one that actually does work, because now I've seen 3 of them in person and none of the 3 can even turn on so I can even hear or even test drive the Charter Daytona. So I'm going like, it's just funny as crap to me, guys stuck in echo chambers and stuff. Think people are just hating on it. And I mean, I got first hand experience that all the ones that I've seen don't work, and I'm on live stream. Like I did one live stream while I was at one dealership, and then they're going like, oh, it might take a week to get the car out of PDI. Then I'm on a second live stream where I show you guys that I found 5 at a dealership. We drive over there, we go look at them, and none of the 5 work. None of them. The salesman says it on camera that all 5 of them are having software issues. And so like, I said, I'm not going to deny now actually having to see a Charter Daytona in person that is not a bad looking vehicle. I still have my reservations with it because it's not as aggressive that I'm normally used to from Dodge products. Even with a Challenger, a decent Challenger is, you know, pretty, you know, not exactly like the most aggressive thing out there, but it has a mean look to it. A Charger, no doubt, when you look at a Hellcat or a Red Eye version of it, it is a very aggressive looking car. Even a lot of people with Scat Packs can make their Scat Packs look very aggressive. And the Charter Daytona is like, you know, it's like not aggressive enough to me, right? And it's like, you know, I would expect now, and I talked about it in the video I just published, that there's not really that much difference look wise between an RT and a Scat Pack in the Charter Daytona. Like, you cannot look at them and tell any differences in between the 2 cars. And I'll take this back to my my live stream about this crap. That you cannot really tell any differences with these cars. Like, you really cannot tell. let's see. Yeah, so that's a new video. I just put it on right here just now. But I said I'm trying to go see him. Trying to go see one of these going cars. But all 5 of them are brick. And so I'm going like, you know, let me go and mute this. But like I said, like these cars right here, you got an RT in the middle and flanked by 2 Scat Packs. And then you literally cannot tell the difference between, you know, either one of these cars. I mean, that's just the thing that, you know, that's one thing I don't like about the current cars now. You have a Scat Pack, a Hellcat, a Red Eye, and you cannot really tell the difference between all of them. I mean, the only thing you can tell the difference between all of them is really now it's just basically just the wheels. Well, hell, that ain't even wheels, because the wheels are basically about the daggone same, right? I mean, I don't think you really tell the difference between a Scat Pack, a Hellcat, and a Red Eye. It's basically the Scat Pack got the old Hellcat hood on it, and then it yeah, got the old Hellcat hood on it and just the badges on it. But basically the wings the same, the wide body fenders are the same, and you can't really tell the difference between them. And then now you have made this to another generation. The RT and the Scat Pack look exactly the same. You cannot look at an RT and a Scat Pack and have any idea which one is which. Because I went through it, I looked at the interior. I mean, the only thing you can really tell in the interior that's different is the RT has cheaper seats in it compared to the ones in the Scat Pack. And then both cars had heads up display. Both of them had wide body fenders. Both of them had pretty much the same size wheels on there. I mean, the only way I could have told which one was which was looking at the badge. One got Brembos and one has a wing on it. And that was basically about it, just looking from the outside. So, I mean, that's the one thing that I don't necessarily love about these cars is that they do not have enough to differentiate each one from each other. And so I'm just hoping that when Dodge comes out with the Banshee and the actual 6-pack cars, that you're able to actually tell the difference between each one of them, right? None of those cars is really going to sound, I mean, I don't think they're going to sound that great, in my opinion, against one another, because you have literally these inline 6 Hurricane cars going to come out, and if they sound anything like the TRX, they're going to sound like a vacuum cleaner, right? And then you're going to have a situation where you have some sound like a vacuum cleaner, some sound like an electric Cheetah style Hemi car. And then is there going to be any differences between those cars and the Banshee? Like, is the Banshee going to look any different? They can't make the body any wider. I mean, is the Banshee only going to have a difference of it just having a different badge on it, a different set of wheels, and basically about it? Is it going to have the same wing from the Scat Pack? So it's like, you know, what differences are these cars going to have at the end of the day? Are they going to literally look like a fleet of the same exact vehicles? Like, I mean, that's going to be crazy, because I mean, hell, like even with the old Charger, the GT Charger looked different from an RT Charger. It looked different from a Scat Pack Charger. And I'm going like, at least there was some things in them that looks a little bit different. Now it's like the whole Tim Knissis thing where he said he wanted everybody to feel like they was in like the Brotherhood. And now it's like, you know, the Brotherhood gonna look like they're in exactly the exact same vehicle. Every car gonna look exactly like one another. Every car gonna look just like the Charter Daytona EVs. And the only thing you're gonna be able to tell the difference is probably just that one little mail slot in the bumper of the actual 6-pack cars. I mean, that might be the only way you can tell that that those cars are a little bit different, is that little mail slot in the bumper. Let's see. It should be on their main page somewhere. Yeah, I think that's the only thing you're gonna be able to tell differences. It's just a little mail slot. They don't have it on their main page no more. And I wish one thing they'll do is get rid of this whole 6-pack name, because I mean, I don't think I would like the whole 6-pack name thing. That's the one thing I just do not think is going to go over well, is 6-pack. Like, honestly, I think they should just get rid of the RT and the Scat Pack name off the EV and put this right here as the actual Scat Pack for the inline six Charger Daytona. Like, I mean, I just do not like having the name six pack. I mean, like, who's gonna really want to go from calling their 500 horsepower Charger Scat Pack to a Charger six pack? I mean, because then even then the names are too similar, because you're gonna have Charger six pack standard output, so six pack SO, and then you're gonna have the actual high output version. It's gonna be called the six pack HO, so six pack ho. Is that what we're gonna basically call everyone who has a Scat Pack version of the six pack version of the car? So I mean, I'm not going like, man, it's just crazy. Yeah, I think the only other way you're gonna be able to tell difference is it's not gonna have that little R-wing design into it. So that might be the only other way that you're gonna be able to tell the difference between these different models of cars. It's just the front end gonna look a little bit different because it's gonna have a full front end header panel, the little mail slot, and a taller hood in there. But I already know that once one of these cars come out, Cal SRT or Wesley Champlin or one of these guys is going to Hellcat swap one of these daggone cars. You know, even if they don't Hellcat swap these cars, I guarantee there's going to be companies going to come out. It's going to actually put like maybe like a 392 or something in one of these cars and make them sound a lot better. I mean, there's only but so much you can do with an exhaust system to make an inline six engine sound better. And I just don't know whether or not that's going to be the actual case with these cars, is that they're going to make these cars sound good enough for people want to get out of their current cars. Because I mean, like I said, when I seen that Charger Daytona in person, you know, you can tell the difference between some influencers who keep it real and some who like try to gaslight you into thinking that something is way better than what you actually think it is. Because when I saw the Charger Daytona in person, I'm like, yeah, it's a nice car, but it wasn't like it was like, oh my god, I gotta have it right then and there. Like, it wasn't like it was like, oh my god, like I can't leave here without this car type feeling to me. Like, yeah, I don't think it even really even mattered if whatever drivetrain was in it, right? And then the interior was like, you know, you can have a decent interior in a car and people will complain about it, but this Charger Daytona does not have like a world-class interior in there. Like, you could tell being in this car, if you've been in like a Ram TRX or any of these other Ram or Jeep models, that those guys who worked on those particular interiors worked on this one. So you can tell Raph Giles has his little flair in it in this car right here. And you know, it's not like it's like worlds better than the current cars. Like, my DB17 interior, it's pretty decent for a drag racing car. It doesn't necessarily have to be a world-class interior for it to be a DB170, but it's pretty good. Alcantara seats, that little rubberized little finish on there, nice little stitching everywhere. And that's basically what this car is. It's basically like a nice little rubberized interior, nice stitching on it and stuff, nice comfortable seats. But it's not like, you know, some people are trying to make out to believe that, oh my god, this interior is like 10 times better, blah blah blah. I'm going like, I sat in there, I'm going like, okay, it's nice, it's decent. I mean, I can get it, it's an upgrade, but it's not like 10 times like, oh my god, it's like that kind of upgrade. It's a decent upgrade or whatever. You know, if you sat between both cars, other than the updated radio, you wouldn't be going like, oh my god, like they just really blow an older Challenger Charger interior out of the water. I mean, that's just basically just my honest opinion of it, right? And so this car is decent. I'll give Dodge that this car is decent, but I wish they would have allowed me to actually go to the actual press event, because they did say something to me last year about going, and I was invited to go, but I guess at the last minute they just did not decide to let me go, because like I showed you guys in the video I just dropped, there's a lot of questions about this car that I would love to have actually talked to an engineer about, because there was stuff that Stellantis put out there themselves about stuff that was going to this car that, you know, I don't know whether or not it still actually made it to the car. Like I showed you guys an example, the lady who was head of software that quit last year, she said that they was going to basically have software to, you know, build up horsepower and stuff. And so that's basically what the stage kits are. That concept that they made, like, I think the software day was like 4 years ago, made it into stage kits. But the RT and the Scat Pack is essentially the exact same car. The only thing to separate those two cars from the RT to the Scat Pack is basically just software locking the RT down to only 500 horsepower and preventing it from having the same horsepower as the Scat Pack. And I'm going, like, I understand what Technician said in that one live stream that he did. I don't think no, it wasn't a live stream. I think it was like a podcast. But Technician said in the podcast that they was going to basically make, you know, all different power levels for the Charter Daytona, and it was going to let you, you know, outrun your suspension and your brakes and stuff through these different power levels. But I'm going, like, honestly, they could have made this one Charter Daytona car just one car and just put it with a Scat Pack stuff in there, and then allow people to go in and actually detune the car so their kids can drive it. Because I mean, just like you know, me and Mopar Insiders, we've already discussed that the Charter Daytona GT, the rear wheel drive only version of this car, is coming out this fall. So they're coming out with a cheaper version of the Charter Daytona later this year. And then we still got the Banshee coming out. So you're literally going to have a GT, a RT, a Scat Pack, and a Banshee. You're going to have 4 versions of a car that look exactly the same, when they didn't necessarily have to go that route. They could have literally just went the one route of make the GT a rear wheel drive only car, about 300-400 horsepower, make a RT version of the car, or call it some other name, and basically give it 670 horsepower, and then allow you to have, let's say, that key that everybody has, have a red key to unlock the whole 670 horsepower, and then maybe have like a black key where you can lock the car down to 500 horsepower for your kids to drive, right? They could have brought forward the old red key, black key that we were so used to with these current cars, brought that over to the EVs. Black keys basically RT power, and the red keys basically a Scat Pack, and just basically just have it, let it have Brembos on the car, right? Because not every single car that had a Hellcat engine in it has Brembos. My Demon 170 does not have Brembos on it. A Super Stock does not have Brembos. A Ram TRX does not have Brembos. So it's not like you had to be locked into putting Brembos on the car. That could have been an option. You could have had a decent brake option for the 670 horsepower, and then if people wanted to go get the track package, they get the Brembos and stuff on there, they would have better braking and stuff. And we could have literally had one car that had a cheaper price than what we currently got with a Scat Pack. And that's what I'm going, like, that's what Dodge should have done, where they did this way, rather than splitting up this one car into a RT and a Scat Pack, and then just have the Banshee sit on top of that. Because that's basically what Tesla does with the Model 3. The Model 3 has a rear-wheel drive version, it has an all-wheel drive version, and then it has a performance version. And that's kind of what Dodge could have did with the Charter Daytona. They could have had a rear-wheel drive Charter Daytona, which is coming out later this year, cheaper. They could have had an all-wheel drive Charter Daytona, which is basically the RT and the Scat Pack split up in 2 different cars. But honestly, I guarantee there's going to be a shop out there that's going to get one of these RT Charter Daytonas, and they're going to hack that car in order to allow it to get the actual same power out of it that you can get out of a Scat Pack. Whether they do some kind of piggyback, maybe they go in and get the tune from the Scat Pack and load into the RT, because Rich Rebuild's video, the engineer told him that the Charter Daytona RT and the Scat Pack is the exact same car, exact same battery pack. They got the exact same EDM motors. The only thing that's limiting the power output is just the amount of juice they push to the EDMs. That's basically it. So someone's going to be out there and they're going to hack this car in order to unlock the power. And then like I said, the Banshee is going to be basically on a different voltage system, so it has more voltage to push to the EDMs. And so that's another video that I'm going to make pretty soon, that I think that Dodge, if they want to basically salvage this whole Charter Daytona situation, they need to make a Banshee that is like the fastest car in the world, period. And given the specs they released during EV Day, they basically have the ability to make the fastest electric car in the world, because they released specs during EV Day where they said they was working on an electric motor that can put out over 442 horsepower per motor. And so if they make a tri-motor car, they can make over 1,300 and 30 something horsepower Charter Daytona. And given how much weight the car is, they're going to have to throw in a lot more horsepower to the car in order to get it to beat a lot of stuff. So honestly, to me, I think they should make a Banshee 1320 Charter Daytona, where it's basically set up for just drag strip all out performance. Now maybe they're going to do that crap with the next generation drag pack, but they need to make a 1320 Charter Daytona where it's built for 1320 quarter mile performance, and it basically has 1,320 horsepower, basically 1 horsepower per every feet in the quarter mile, right? And that would be pretty insane, because I mean, if you got the D170 now, they get into the 8-second range through some amazing prep. What if they had a Charter Daytona that had 1,320 horsepower and they can get to the quarter mile within like high 7 seconds, right? What if they make like a high 7-second drag racing factory production Charter Daytona? That would be a Charter Daytona that I'll be interested in buying. That'd be one that I'm going like, I would wait for that. That'd be something like Dodge need to tease that they're actually making a drag strip monster. Like they need to have one of the Charter Daytonas camouflaged up and just start leaking little footage here and there of one going crazy fast down the drag strip. Because Mopar Insiders, I saw an article they had a couple years ago about the Charter Daytona that they had sitting at the at SEMA, and they literally had parts from Direct Connection on the car. And one of the main things that drew my attention to that car was that it had the Demon 170 carbon fiber wheels on there, and it looked pretty freaking crazy. Let's see. Like, I don't know why they didn't bring that car back to SEMA last year, but that was one car they should have brought back. Let me pull it up right here. But yeah, Dodge should definitely make sure that they build this particular car right here. Like this car right here, honestly, Dodge has the ability to make this car right here one of the fastest cars in the world, period. If you look up close on it, those are the same exact carbon fiber wheels from the Demon 170. They just got like a center lock cover on there, from my buddy was telling me. They just basically got a center lock cover in there just to kind of cover it up, to make it, the wheels look a little bit different. But these are literally the exact same wheels from the Demon 170. And you got Mickey Thompson tires all the way around and all 4 corners on this car. And I think right here, this will be, if Dodge pulls it off and actually are allowed to make this crazy car, especially with all the suspension technology they had patented a few years ago, this right here could be a car, a Charter Daytona that I would buy right here. If they actually did this crap, I would love to buy this car. You had Mickey Thompson all 4 corners, basically have like a Charter Daytona 1320, basically like an EV version of the Demon 170. Like, this would be awesome. Like, I would definitely be interested in buying this car, especially if it was like low $100,000, because you're gonna basically have like the fastest car in the world. I'll be interested in buying that, right? 1,320 horsepower, maybe have like similar stuff to the Demon 170, to where you have the seat deletes in the car, that way you can save some weight. Mickey Thompson tires on all 4 wheels, carbon fiber wheels. Hopefully they don't use that same vendor from the last time who kind of screwed the pooch and could not get people to actually orders for the Demon 170, because not that many wheels was made from this company. So they kind of screwed up everybody who wanted carbon fiber wheels on Demon 170. That's why only like 800 cars have it, compared to like, I want to say at least half of everybody wanted to spec these carbon fiber wheels on their car, but because of that vendor, no one can get the wheels like they had wanted to. And then even now, those $11,000 wheels that was available when you ordered the car, now they're like $20,000 from Dodge. So I'm going like, did the vendor like purposely try to, like, you know, limit how many orders they got out because they didn't want to take that kind of loss, and wanted to wait until after the Direct Connection to actually get Um, um, maybe make more money off the wheels it being in wheels being like direct connection and stuff. So it's like that right there would be definitely be an interesting thing to see if Dodge will go with a different vendor for carbon wheels going forward and indirect connection and stuff. So like I said, I definitely would be interested in them if they go and actually make this kind of chart of Daytona. This would be the one that's like, I don't normally buy vehicles that aren't like the top of the food chain in whatever trim it is, right? I had Hellcats, I had TRXs, got Demon 170. I want to Escalade V. I want to upgrade to the 01. So normally I always like having the top of the food chain cars. So that's what I'm going like, if they made this kind of chart of Daytona, this would be one that I would be interested in buying. It's gonna be big as crap. Cause that's the one thing I noticed about that chart of Daytona when I see it in person. That chart of Daytona is freaking huge. That sucker took me by surprise how big it was. And I think that's probably why part of the weight is so high in chart of Daytona, because it is so big and it's basically like a 4-door car that has the doors stretched back to only fit 2-door cars. It's basically gonna be the exact same length. I wish they would have shortened the car down for only the 2-door version of the car, right? Take a few inches out of it, make it a little bit shorter, a little bit more nimble and stuff, compared to basically just having one body being used on literally every single version of the car. Because like even like when you look at the Hummer EV and the Hummer EV SUV, those are pretty much the same vehicles, pretty much from the front doors forward. Well, yeah, the front 2 doors forward, but then the rear half is different because they made the Hummer EV SUV shorter. But they basically aren't the exact same body being used for 2 different vehicles. So that's one thing I wish they would have did with this right here, was they made the 2-door car a little bit shorter, because you don't necessarily are clamoring for a big back seat in a 2-door car. Like that's why you bought a 2-door car in the first place, because you're not necessarily going to carry a lot of people with you in the back seat. And I wish I was able to actually test drive the chart of Daytona that I was at the dealership, because I'm saying it's just crazy to me that all those chart of Daytonas, they all were broke. Like every single one of them, all 5 of them in that one dealership was broke, and then the other dealership, them suckers were broke. And I'm going like, come on, man, like this is crazy. Like I just don't get it. Like this is like crazy. Like I've never seen a situation where every single car shipped to a dealership of a particular trim or brand or whatever you want to call it, all of them do not work. And I have it on camera from the salesman telling me that none of them work. So I'm like, come on, man, this is like the craziest launch I've ever seen. And so like I just hope that they're able to fix this issue so I actually test drive one, because I was hoping to test drive one when everyone was able to go and everyone's actually go and fly to Arizona to actually test drive it. And I can ask the engineers a bunch of questions, because like I said, I have plenty of questions, because they said they will put a bunch of microtransactions into the chart of Daytonas, and I don't know whether or not they're still doing it or not. And I'm going like, especially stuff that, Rich Rebuilds brought up when we did a video with him, Demonology, TK, and OC Motivator, myself. Like, can you not find charging stations in this car? Can you not look in the radio and find that? Is that like something they're going to add, after the fact? Is there going to be an issue where like this car doesn't preheat the battery and stuff, so it takes longer to charge? I mean, is there going to be on the Banshee and stuff, it's going to be like stuff you're going to have to buy separately, right? Because one thing I saw in articles was that none of these cars have line lock on them, right? And I don't know whether or not it's a problem because they can't get the front electric motors to shut off, and that's why they can't get the line lock system to work in the car, or they're going to basically be like, oh, well, you know what? We can't get the line lock system to work for right now, but we're going to just basically say the SRT versions of the car, those are going to be the only ones that has line lock on them, because it's going to take us longer to get this situation fixed. So I'm going like, it's just crazy. So I'm like, that's why I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask them, especially about the software side of things, because that was stuff that I've been covering for years. When I covered all the stuff that, either Tim Canissa said or the lady who was over software was saying about the car having a bunch of software locks in them, and then some of the suspension stuff. And like the lady was saying, they're like, hey, if you want premium audio in your car, that I put in the video clip, you got to pay extra for premium audio. I'm going like, why you got to pay extra to unlock speaker quality in a car that's already had the speakers in there? And so I wish I was able to actually, test drive the car to see whether or not how the audio sounded and stuff in the car, because I don't know whether or not there are specific things in the car that's locked behind software. I don't have a Charger Daytona, so I don't have the app from Dodge to check and see on there what's all on there that you can actually do and actually see with the car. So that's what I'm hoping that Dodge will let me, have a review unit, because they let me hold a Hornet for about 3 or 4 weeks. And I drove it from Michigan down to home. So I hope to have a Charger Daytona to where I can, go and see how it is going from Michigan all the way down to North Carolina. Will this car find charging stations? Can you use the Tesla supercharger network? Because there was an article that Stellantis and Tesla was working on an agreement to use the Tesla superchargers, but I think you gotta use certain ones because you gotta put an adapter on the actual charger in order to plug in to the actual Charger Daytona. So there's a lot of questions that I definitely would love to have asked, and none of the reviews that I've seen, no one really put those questions on camera that someone actually responded to. So I think I might ask Dodge to see whether I can get like an engineer, have a video with me answering some questions that I had, because there's a lot of questions about stuff I put in videos that Stellantis themselves said is stuff locked behind software. Can these cars use the Tesla supercharger? Can these cars preheat their own batteries? Is the speaker quality locked behind a software lock, right? If you don't get the sound, what was that? The Sun and Sound package, does the car have worse speaker quality compared to a car that doesn't have that package on there? So, I know I sound like a hater and stuff, but there's a lot of questions behind this car that's not really like being answered. And I made videos about this, and I think other people made videos about this, about what is actually going on with this car. So that's why I want to be able to have a nice conversation with somebody. So, I might message Dodge. I might message Dodge right now. Let me go. Oh, crap. Down. Did I knock my screen out? Yeah, I think I knocked my screen out. Yeah, I think I knocked my screen out. Okay, there we go. All right, let me turn my light back on. Okay, all right, yeah. I kicked my daggone, I kicked my screen out. But yeah, I definitely want to be able to ask them some questions and stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and send Dodge a question. You know what? I'm gonna send somebody a question about this, because I definitely do have a lot of questions about this. But I definitely, like I said, I'm definitely curious about stuff going on with this car. And it's like I'm trying to be a hater, say aha, like this car sucks, aha. I'm just trying to be, curious about stuff going on in this car, because this is like an $80,000 car. And it'd be crazy to think that, it's 80-some thousand dollars, but then you got to spend a couple of dollars here to unlock this, a couple of dollars there, unlock that, a couple of dollars here, unlock this, where then, hey, is all this stuff already baked into the price of the car? Is this why this car is so expensive? Because all the stuff that you guys said in your own words was probably locked behind software, is it already unlocked in the car? Since these first editions are like in the $80,000 price range, is that the reason why they're $80-some thousand? Because everything is already in the car. That the lady who was over software that quit last year, she the one who said that this stuff's gonna be locked, and you got to go back and actually unlock it yourself with extra money and subscriptions and stuff. So, So yeah. You know, I'm asking tomorrow whether he can give me an engineer. Like, I would love to have a live stream with an engineer. Like, maybe get like the whole gang back together, me, TK, OC Motivator, Demonology, and Rich Rebuilds, and we can all have a chat with an engineer and stuff, because they've already experienced the car driving. As far as I know, me, TK, and OC Motivator, we still have not driven a charter Daytona yet. And I mean, I haven't driven one because none of them work where I live at, and that's the thing that sucks. I mean, I can't lie about this. I didn't make this up. This is actually on a live stream when it actually happened, that none of the cars near me work. The dealer, I got one dealership 10 miles from me, 2 cars don't work, a RT and a Scat Pack. I got another dealership that's 15 minutes from me, none of their 5 cars work. Like, one of the cars that they had in the service department is actually a customer car. Someone ordered a RT, like a white RT Charter Daytona, but the customer cannot buy his car because they cannot get the car to work. And so I think the guy was saying that it's been sitting there for like a week, and they still have not gotten that customer's car who put a deposit on the car to actually sell it to them, because they cannot get the car to work. So I'm going like, you know, I can't make this up. Like, I mean, I wish the car would work, because I don't want to see Dodge fail. Like, I mean, I know I'm coming off as a hater in a lot of videos and stuff, but before last year, I made nothing but videos about stuff coming out that I actually liked, or keep people informed about, you know, this get discontinued, or this is coming, this trim is coming. But the last year, it just been like the reality that a lot of stuff in this company has been going downhill, especially dealers screwing over people with Demon 170s, customers having issues with quality stuff with their vehicles and stuff. Like, how in the world does a Scat Pack, like an actual 2023 Charger Scat Pack, leave the assembly plant with the whole back half of the car not welded, and it's like making all kind of crazy noises? It goes all the way from the plant all to the customer, and he literally drives it the first daggone time, and no one noticed how bad this car was sounding. And then he's been getting dicked around for like 3 months, and it wasn't until I made a video about it that people started taking it seriously, and then within like 2 or 3 weeks, now he actually got some traction and got a buyback, and he actually got into a new car. But for 3 months, Stellantis was dicking, either dealer or Stellantis was dicking him around, or like, you know, situations where, like, you know, the reason why I kept covering all those issues with the Demon 170, because people were getting denied in the background to get their Demon 170s fixed, right? The first video I made back in January of last year, the dude had his warranty denied, and they gave him a bill for $40,000 to engine swap a 92-mile Demon 170, only 92 miles, and they wanted him to basically pay out his pocket. But that wasn't something that I put on Dodge. That's something that I put on Stellantis, because Stellantis wanted to deny his warranty. But once I, you know, made the video, and I was, you know, working with Tim Kaniskas and some other people in the background and stuff, a lot of these situations got fixed. So, you know, but he still had to wait 3 months for his engine to get replaced. But if I didn't help him, his warranty claim was already denied. Like, no one, like, he was basically dead in the water, and had a big giant bill for a $200,000 car that he had paid for, right? So it's like, you know, I don't like making a lot of videos about negative stuff, but there's a lot of negative stuff going on in the background. Like, how you think that me and TK, we have so much information going on in the background, because a lot of people are unhappy with the direction of stuff going on, and they're pissed off at stuff going on too. I just seen the video TK made today about somebody's paint on a fender. An entire sheet of paint just flew off of a Grand Wagoneer, $120-something car, and I swear that well, they made a Warren truck, but a Warren truck invested like millions of dollars in their paint booth several years ago, so it should be a pretty good quality paint booth. But when you got a CEO in Causaveris who's trying to cost cut everywhere, stuff suffers, right? So I mean, you got cheap vendors going around. Like, I knew stuff was going to happen back in 2021, because I knew someone who was the head of one of these production plants, and they were telling me, hey, look, man, like, Stellantis is going through and like not cashing checks and paying vendors when they did the whole switch over from FCA to Stellantis. So I knew back in 2021 stuff was going to get worse, and then stuff got worse every single year. It's like, I mean, I just hate doing it. But I mean, what else could I talk about? So I'm like, and like even with this car here, I was genuinely excited about this car. Like I thought this car was gonna be very, very good. That's why I covered this car. Like I think the last time I checked, I made over 30 something videos about Charter Daytona, all the way from the first day it was introduced up until like now. And majority of those videos until after I saw the stuff where they're gonna start hiding stuff behind software. I actually liked the car. I just stopped liking the car once I started figuring out all this trickery that they're gonna do and hiding stuff behind the car. And then once you see that they pushed this car a year before it was ready and all the stuff going on, that I'm going like, what else can you talk about? Like this car was supposed to have came out last summertime, and now it's just not rolling out in January, several months later. So it's like, you know, there's not really that much to talk about. Like they should have honestly pushed out the Hurricane cars first. If they would have pushed those Hurricane cars out first, or at least kept the Challenger and Charger alive for one more model year, we wouldn't necessarily have that much of a problem. We could have had at least some overlap, whatever, in these cars. And so, I mean, I would genuinely interested in having a Charter Daytona, especially as a daily driver, because I can have that as a daily driver, and then my Demon 170 come out on the weekend, because I don't want to put that much miles on my Demon 170, especially considering Dodge helped me get that car. Like, and they gave me a low VIN number car. Like, I literally personally had gotten this car from Tim Kuniskis. So, as I'm going, like, I don't want to put so much miles on my Demon 170, but it's not going to be a garage queen either. So having a nice Charter Daytona as a daily driver would have been decent. I could have basically just drove around town, get my son to from school, and plug it into the wall and let it charge up, because I only go like maybe like 15, 20 miles a day. So I don't care about like the limited range. I don't really care about that. And so that would have worked fine with me. And then if they actually made this Charter Daytona right here, oh man, I would definitely 100% buy this Charter Daytona. Like they made this sucker right here, and I'm telling you, like I'll make a video about this, but they made a 1320 Charter Daytona. This would be basically the EV that I would buy, because I was basically planning on in the background of buying an EV anyway. I tried to buy a Hummer EV, but miraculously in like 5 years my order never showed up. So I want to have a Hummer EV that's like a 1,000 horsepower pickup truck slash whatever you want to call it, but that never came. I ordered a freaking Dark Horse Mustang, that never came. And then you know, stuff with the Charger Daytona, I'm going like, I was hoping that when they introduced the car, it would have had like 1,000 horsepower on it, because or at least 800 horsepower, because they're supposed to be developing some electric motors that makes 442 horsepower. So I was thinking that the Scat Pack was going to have at least 800 horsepower, but they limited it down to 670 because they didn't have the more powerful electric motors already made. Like they're using like a different version. Like somebody was telling me they got like 3 different versions of electric motors for these Stella large cars, and I'm going like, why do you even need that? All you need, why are you developing 3 different motors for the same cars and the same platform? Make one motor that fits in all these vehicles, right? Like I thought Stellantis was supposed to be cost cutting as much as they could, but why is you making all these daggone different style motors and stuff that is going to raise your cost? Just make one motor, make one electric motor that makes 440 horsepower. Make that one motor, and then you can go through software and detune certain cars if you want to, right? So I'm going like, you don't need 3 different versions of the motor. Like they can make that one motor and put it into all 3 versions of the Charter Daytona. They can have, you know, basically like, oh yeah, oh man. Yeah, because like they did that crap right there. They could have made a rear wheel drive Charter Daytona EV have 800 horsepower. They could have made, dang, that, yeah, that'd be wild. Yeah, that was wild. Cause they could have made an 800 horsepower rear wheel drive only Charter Daytona with one electric motor. No, not 800 horsepower. It would be 400 horsepower. They want to have a one rear wheel drive motor Charter Daytona that would be 400 some horsepower. They want to make a dual rear motor Charter Daytona that could be 800 horsepower. They wanted to make a front wheel drive and a rear wheel drive, all wheel drive system, that would have been 800 horsepower. And they wanted to make an all wheel drive system, they could have tuned the car up to 13 to 20 horsepower. So they had a lot of options with just one version of electric motors and stuff, but they just chose to put this version in there that I'm assuming is maxed out as 670, 680 horsepower or whatever. But I was hoping that the Scat Pack was going to have more horsepower in the actual vehicle and actually be able to beat stuff. Because I mean, I know people are crying about how you can compare Dodge to Tesla, but Tesla did take Dodge's lunch money with the Plaid on the drag strip. Like, they specifically, people brag how good the 4-door Plaid can be a Charger, not a Charger, but a 2018 Demon on the drag strip. So to me, you had to answer, if you was Dodge, to dethrone that car. Like, if you're gonna go and eliminate Hellcats, Red Eyes, Super Stocks, and Demons, your first car out the gate should have been a Plaid killer, right? So I'm going like, I mean, that's would have been my goal, because everybody knows that Tesla is the number one electric vehicle company in the world. The Model Y is the best selling vehicle in the world, and if you can't even compete with that, then why you made a electric vehicle in the first place, right? So it's like, priorities is kind of like you can't beat the best electric cars in the world, but you're gonna cost more than them. Like, that's not Dodge. Dodge is a blue collar brand, and so it's like, that's why I don't particularly like the Scat Pack and stuff, because the Dodge could have made the Scat Pack the same price as the RT, because the RT is literally the exact same car with only a handful of differences in there, namely just the brakes. That's basically the biggest upgrade between a RT and a Scat Pack. It's just going from regular brakes to Brembos. Other than that, there really is no discernible difference. Same battery pack, same motors. And the only other thing that's different is just some seats, and you got a spoiler on the back and Brembo brakes. That's it, right? We could have had literally like a $65,000, $70,000 like loaded out Charger Daytona, but they just do not have the ability to make cheap cars, right? Just like the same thing with like the 4xe, like the Wrangler 4xe. They didn't want to make a base 4xe version of that vehicle to make like a $30-some-thousand hybrid Wrangler, right? The Wranglers are too expensive, and that was like Jeep's bread and butter car that people bought like yearly, and every year the Wrangler is losing sales, right? So I mean, and that just because of the price. Pricing is their biggest fault. And Carlos Tavares went to this whole stupid nonsense that he was going to price everything higher. That way they can make more money per unit, sell less units, and then have people employed less in order to have a better profit margin. And the dude did not realize that these brands were blue collar brands. Jeeps was a blue collar brand until they went luxury heavy and started making vehicles that cost way too much money. Dodge was a budget performance brand, right? That's what Dodge was. But now every vehicle in then Dodge costs over $60,000. You don't have any budget back in the brand. Ram trucks, a tradesman costing a $40-some-thousand range. A freaking tradesman. So I mean, you got a tradesman that costs almost $1,000 a damn month. It's just crazy. Just depending on your financing. That's a tradesman. That's basically a plastically light vehicle. So with the Charger Daytona, I just had better hopes for the car. It is way too expensive. Like, I mean, it can't beat Tesla in range. It can't beat Tesla in horsepower. It can't beat Tesla in a quarter mile. It can't beat Tesla in the 0 to 60. Then why do you cost more than the Tesla? I know I heard Racer X's live stream last night going like, oh, well, it's not a Tesla. Tesla's boring. Yeah, but the Charger Daytona ain't exactly that much exciting either. Like, I walked up to it and going like, I mean, okay, I get it. It wasn't like I was head over heels for it. It doesn't look that great on camera. And in person, it's like, okay, it makes sense. It's all right. And then even the interior is not like worlds better than what you currently have in a Charger or a Challenger, right? Like I said, my D170 interior, like that's why I want to have one in person. Like if Dodge let me have one in person. If you look between the two interiors, they're not worlds different. They're pretty decent amongst one another. So I'm going like, This whole thing that the Charger Daytona just worlds better than the current cars, I just don't see it. It's better. It's not 100% better. Like, I'll give it a couple of notches that is better than the current car in looks, but it's not better than the current cars in performance. And, you know, when we go and see how these Hurricanes perform, how much weight is going to be saved in these cars when we take the batteries out, right? If these cars weigh more than the current cars and you got one version that's 400 some horsepower that looks exactly like a version with 500 some horsepower, people are going to think that these cars are just slow, the new ones. And I'm like, that's why I hope Dodge price those 6-pack cars right, because I heard through the grapevine that high output Hurricane inline six car is probably going to cost the same amount of money a Hellcat did. It's probably going to cost around $60,000 with a bunch of options on there. And I don't think that it's going to work out too well in Dodge's favor, because Ford tried that same nonsense with the Dark Horse Mustang. And if you seen a bunch of people at Ford pissed off, especially content creators, they all collectively said that the Dark Horse Mustang is way too expensive. Way too expensive. It should not cost almost $60,000 to get a naturally aspirated V8 engine, right? It should not cost that much money. And so if people don't want to pay that much money for a naturally aspirated V8 engine, why are they gonna pay that much money for a inline six Hurricane Charger that is big and probably gonna weigh a lot more weight than a Mustang? So that's my hope. I hope Dodge, like, hope that was not true that I heard that the Charger how I put Hurricane 550 horsepower gonna cost over $60,000 in some trims. Like, I hope that's not the case. I hope they put it in the 50s. But oh my goodness, like, I heard that like a week or two ago about the pricing on that car. Man, I just cross my fingers that it is not that daggone expensive. Like honestly, they got to get that car down into the 40. Like to me, honestly, the 400 horsepower version of that Hurricane should be no more than maybe like $49,000. And then the 500 horsepower version of that car, base price should be in the 50s. And then you probably spec it up maybe 60, 65, depending on the options, whatever. But they cannot put that inline six Hurricane Charger 2-door in the $60,000 range, because they got great data from Ford owners that the Ford Mustang had its worst selling year ever in his 60 year of life. That first, or that new generation Ford Mustang had its worst selling year ever. That speaks a lot of volume, that people who are diehard Mustang fans will not buy a V8 Mustang because it costs too much money. And there is no competition for them people to go anywhere else. There's no Challenger available, there's no Charger available, there's no Camaro available. Even with all that crap, Ford did not pull over Dodge customers who didn't have a Challenger or Charger to jump to. Ford did not pull over GM customers who didn't have a Camaro to jump into. And Ford can even pull in their own customers who actually liked the Mustang. And the Mustang had its worst selling year ever. So if Dodge does the exact same thing and price that daggone 550 horsepower inline six Hurricane car, that car is not going to sell. I don't care how much any influencer says, oh, this Hurricane, I'm a fan of it, it's so good, yada, yada, yada. If it ain't priced right, nobody ain't buying it. Because if nobody didn't want to buy a V8 Mustang, no one's going to buy an inline six Charger. And I don't care what anybody say about that daggone engine, right? I mean, once these Chargers start getting more in dealership lots and people actually go and see it in person, like I said, like, I'm like, okay, the car is cute. I'll give it that. It's cute. But it's not like, it's like when you look at that new Charger, it's like, oh my God, like, I gotta have that car. That car is just so awesome. Like, it's a couple notches good looking, but not like it's fine. So, but I tell you, the only hope I have for the Charger is if somebody goes and Hellcat swap one. I guarantee you somebody or some company is gonna take some of these daggone cars Hopefully they're not expensive, and Hellcat swap one, and or either Hellcat swap one, or they can put 392 in one. And I think that'll be like will be like the biggest content maker is people who engine swap those cars. And then I'm hoping that if Dodge actually goes through and actually makes a Banshee 1320, it got to have 1,320 horsepower or 1,200, whatever. But it better destroy a Plaid on the drag strip. Like, the only car that should beat a Banshee should be like that Remont Navara that has like 1,800 horsepower. That should be the only car that even sniff the Charter Daytona Banshee 1320. Like, that car should destroy literally any single car in the world on the drag strip. Carbon fiber wheels all four corners, Mickey Thompson wheels all four corners. That the F1 style suspension that has a lot of electronics into the suspension and stuff to help do like the little drag motor stuff in there. That car had better be the fastest daggone car in the world. Like, I don't know if this EV phase for Dodge is going to survive if that Banshee is not a Plaid killer. Like, because the Plaid is, I think, the Plaid might be the second fastest car in the world, whatever, or the third fastest now after the Lucid Air. Like, there should be no reason why a 1,300 horsepower Charter Daytona should not exist by next year, especially with 800 volts tri-motor. Like, I don't know how much engineering is going to be to make it a quad motor car, and they make it a quad motor car, and it has like over what 840, 442, 880. So what? That's what 1,700 horsepower. Like, they made a 1,700 horsepower Charter Daytona. Whew, Banshee. Oh man, that'd be crazy if they had a quad motor. But yeah, I just wanted to come online and say that because I didn't notice in the video. I didn't say whether or not I would actually buy a Charter Daytona or not. Like, I would not buy a RT or a Scat Pack. Like, I would probably buy an RT if I had to pick one. I would pick the RT and wait for somebody to actually software unlock that car, because it's literally the exact same car, and depending on what someone does, someone's going to be able to unlock that car and actually unlock the whole 700 horsepower, because that's what the engineer said on Rich Rebuild's video. So if I had to buy one between the RT and the Scat Pack, I think the RT is going to be a better buy. It's cheaper, it's only software locked, and I'll be amazed if it's something as simple as someone at a dealership goes in and reflashes the car from an RT to a Scat Pack and unlocks all the power. If it's that simple, that'd be very interesting. Like, I wonder if one of these Dodge dealerships who are like a performance shop actually goes and do that, see if they can actually reflash an RT into a Scat Pack software. Because I've seen some people who have different software loaded on their cars. Like, I know somebody who had an actual Demon 170 who had Hellcat software loaded on his car and had to get reflashed. So I know it's possible for some of these cars to get reflashed with different tunes on them. And that was one of the reasons why his Transbait did not work on his Demon 170, because his Demon 170 thought it was a Hellcat. So I've seen it happen. I know it happened. So yeah, I'm just saying it'd be very interesting if someone goes through and reflashes a RT as a Scat Pack and then unlocks all the horsepower from their car. So that would be, if I had to choose between RT and the Scat Pack, definitely pick a RT over the Scat Pack. Save yourself down there 20 grand or whatever, and just wait for somebody to actually unlock the daggone car. But I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna do that crap. And then the whole 6-pack cars, it'd be interesting to see how those cars are gonna be priced, because that's my only hiccup with the car, other than all the cars looking exactly the same, because they're all gonna be wide bodies and really gonna be no difference between how one body looks compared to the other body looks. Like, that could be very interesting too. How in the world is the 4-door wide body car gonna look? Is the rear door gonna flare out and actually have like a big old wide section in the back flare out? Or how they gonna do the wide body for the 4-door version? So maybe that's another reason why it's taking so long for them to tool it, because they gotta kind of fix how the rear door is gonna work with a wide body. But yeah, that's gonna definitely be interesting. But I did talk to Dodge, and they did tell me that the 4-door versions of the Charger Daytona will be out by the summertime, and the actual inline 6 versions of the Charger Daytona gonna be out by the fall. So hopefully by the summertime we'll see the 4-door cars and see how that looks. I know there's mules getting made. I think the mules got started getting made like a month or two ago. So I'm surprised we haven't really seen any spy shots of 4-door Charger Daytona mules running around for some odd reason. I know TK was saying they sent some mules down to Mexico. I haven't really looked into it or whatever, because I haven't necessarily been feeling all that hot my daggone self, not feeling good. But I'm definitely gonna get more into it and actually start digging a little bit deeper and stuff, and keep on Dodge, because I definitely want to have a Charger Daytona test vehicle. So I can actually give it like a really good review, check it out. Can it find charging stations? How fast is it really? How does it compares look wise and interior wise to my Demon 170? I mean, I already know a Demon 170 is going to kill that car. So I'm not going to compare it performance wise, but I know a lot of people around here who have like scat packs and stuff like that. So how does the Charger Daytona scat pack compare to an actual other person scat pack and stuff, or like a Hellcat or whatever? I know plenty of people who have like Charger Hellcats, Charger scat packs, Challenger scat packs, Challenger Hellcats and stuff. So I got plenty of options around here. I just want to actually go in there, take it places, maybe take it to a Cars and Coffee around here, go take it down to Charlotte, and go to and actually race somebody on the drag strip, because no one, I mean, I don't see no, I mean, other than CJ and 32s, I don't know no other real big influencer actually has a Charger Daytona, but he's not going to drag race his with 20, let me see, he put 24s on his car with 26s or whatever. So I would love to go take one to a drag strip and actually see how it performs on the drag strip. So I'm definitely gonna keep on dodging about that crap, but I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here, because I'm gonna go ahead and make the other video about the 1320 Banshee and some other videos. But let me know what you guys think about this live stream. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, and I'll let you boys later. Oh, there we go. I can click that button right there.